Alright, okay, so here we are for the second trial run of the GDP. So today I have 4 guests with me today, so say hello to Sean,
Hello.
Sadun, our new cast member,
Hello.
I won't
and
call him
recurring
new.
one, Andy,
Yeah, what's up?
and the member who couldn't make it for yesterday's cast, Sam.
Hi.
As you can hear, we all sound pretty depressed, me partly because I'm kind
Yeah.
of sleep deprived. And
True.
we don't really have much to talk about, but we're gonna do it anyway, because that's how we roll.
Spontaneous.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
So if you're listening to this, I have to wonder what you're doing with your life. And maybe you should pick up a hobby.
Maybe you should,
Yes.
but maybe this could be your hobby.
How about continuing with your
If this is your
guitar,
hobby,
man?
I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
Alright, so
Listening to
Oh,
random
yeah,
people talking.
True, yeah.
I'll get the ball rolling. Kotaku recently announced that the Japanese language pack for Tomb Raider costs another $30 and it applies to the Steam edition only. Seriously, what the hell is wrong with it? I mean, Square Enix, they're doing a good job, but what the hell?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that that piece of news makes no sense whatsoever. But let me get this straight: the Japanese, whatever it is, Japanese pack,
Yeah.
what all it does is adds like basically Japanese voice acting, and like everything in the game turns into Japanese.
I figured it out!
What did you
What?
figure out?
They're gonna give Lara Croft a Japanese voice.
I don't know.
thought that's
I don't
what
know
we
if
all
you're-
That is the
found out.
point of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pack,
yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
I thought that was the whole point of it.
I know,
But
but
here's-
listen, okay?
Okay.
What does Lara Croft do a lot of in the game?
Oh my
okay.
The
god.
noises,
Oh
shit.
yeah, you have a
Yeah.
point.
How much was
Well,
it again?
I'm sorry, what?
I
I'm
don't
fairly
know.
Sure that a porn
Scream,
movie
fall
would
down.
cost much
Dude,
less
since you
than
haven't
that,
played it.
and would
How
basically
would
do the
you
same
know?
thing.
Have you been to Japan and bought one?
No, I'm fairly sure. Well, I've been on the internet, so I'm fairly sure that it doesn't cost that much.
And
It's
besides,
true,
it's
actually.
Kotaku, man. It's Kotaku. Sometimes Kotaku is wrong on a lot of stuff. You know, they're based mostly on rumors, not news. So you gotta take that into account.
Okay, but it does sound rather legit because you see, Tomb Raider comes with voice subtitles for German, French, Italian, Spanish, Russian, Polish,
Okay.
and Arabic. So there's voice
That's
and
a
subtitles
lot.
for all these languages. But Japanese is not supported, and there are subtitles for Korean, Chinese, Dutch, Czech, and Portuguese. So it actually sounds rather legit that they're launching this Japanese one a bit late. I mean,
No, I'm talking
that's
about the
really
price.
late.
I'm talking about the
Price?
price.
What's
Well,
the legit about?
Yeah, I mean, who really
yeah,
would want to
exactly,
buy
the la-
something like that? It's not like Steam.
$30. $30, 150 ringgit. I mean, okay, $30.
But-
Like, okay, change it into yen, it'd be 300 yen. Yeah.
No,
I
not
don't think you're
300
supposed
yen.
to convert. I mean, don't
No, I'm
convert
pretty
it.
sure. I'm pretty sure it's like somewhere around 10 yen per dollar. I think somewhere around there.
No,
Mm,
No, it's not.
It's no,
it's 10
no,
yen
it's-
per ringgit.
Conversion
no,
rate
no,
cost.
I'm talking about.
God damn it,
US,
people!
US.
$30
I'm talking
is
about US.
Wait, I have an app for
2,966
this.
yen.
I'm talking about
You
It's
don't
way
need
too
an app for
much.
it. I know the conversion.
I have an app for this. No, I'm serious.
You know, never
One
mind.
US dollar is 100 yen. One US dollar is close to
Holy
100 yen.
shit.
One
So-
US
Oh man,
is
3,000.
But USD
3,000
still
yen.
is a bit more than yen, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about the same. They tie each other to the same thing.
yeah,
Let's
nearly
not talk
100
about,
yen.
let's not talk about exchange rate, but we do know the Japanese cost of living is a bit more expensive, but that's not the topic of discussion today. Is it? I don't know.
It
might
might
have
be.
brought up-
We
depends,
don't have a
man. No,
topic.
well, the thing is that I'm talking about like for example, say, living expenses, how it affects whether or not the gamers would actually want to buy that pack in the first place. You know, would they actually deem it as worthy? I mean, some hardcore ones maybe, but I'm talking about average gamers in Japan. Oh wait, it's
Yeah,
Japan.
and to
never
think
mind.
I only paid $40 US for my Tomb Raider.
And to think that the rest of
Yeah.
us did not pay anything for it.
Yeah, we
Hey,
should
Ah,
hey,
have
ah,
an
dude,
answer.
dude, oh come on. You just
Yeah, you
exposed
got
us
it
as
for
pirates.
free.
Thanks a lot.
No, you're not pirates. You got it for free. I bought it for you guys. Remember, I bought each and every one of you a copy of it,
Yep.
and then
because
I
You
sent
did?
it
Well,
to you
that's
guys.
Leon
kind
is
of like
basically our
pirating.
sugar daddy in this
Yeah,
conversation.
I
kinda
am.
Sugar
Who's
daddy.
your daddy?
Not anymore.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
So that's it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna answer that.
So do we stop? Do we stop there? Do we stop there?
Okay, back to whether or not that people would buy such a pack, right? I think the hardcore gamers actually will. I mean, to them, like in anime and stuff like that, they're really into like girls' voices. So it's actually quite a big thing for them. I think they
Mm.
That
will
I
pay
sounded
don't-
for it.
really strange.
So
I
dude,
don't know why any core. Here's the thing: we're
Huh?
talking about core gamers, not
Yeah.
like I don't even know what the word for it is. Is it pornphilia? Because like core gamers care about. Usually, I would think that core gamers would care about the game, and if we're talking about voice acting here, then it wouldn't. Would it really be? Would we really still be talking about core gamers anymore? Besides, we're not talking about core gamers as like we're talking about a specific range of core gamers who are core gamers in Japan, right? And given the amount of stuff that they could have for $30 as opposed to a voice pack, I don't know. This piece of news does not make any sense to me, and I do not see how it can work at all.
True.
You know what I think happened?
What?
Yeah, sure, it is Square Enix, but we have to remember Square Enix Japan and Square Enix London, right? The Square Enix London is basically IDOS when Square Enix brought them over. Remember how earlier I said that the language and subtitle packs are German, French, Italian, Spanish, Russian, Polish, and Arabic. So these are basically countries near Europe, and that really makes sense because IDOS is basically Europe. You know, as far as Square Enix London goes, it's basically Europe. And what could have happened is there was a foresight, and they forgot to consider for Japanese voice acting.
Conveniently.
And yeah, and post game they did the voice acting, and now they're gonna have to charge a lot for it because voice acting, number one, is not cheap, and
Okay.
number two, I mean, it's gonna sell in very limited copies, so they gotta make back as much as they can. What more with the remember Square Enix launching their financial figures?
Right. Let me tell you something
I
about.
thought there was sorry, but I thought it was mentioned by you that the Chinese and Korean versions were there.
Only subtitles.
So, okay. So dude.
Right. Let me tell you something about Arabic language and voice acting in games. It doesn't happen.
Okay.
I have played so many video games, and I have never came across a single game that has Arabic voice acting made by the developers of the game. Usually, you get some modders, Arabic modders, that sometimes do this kind of stuff, but most of the time, there is no such thing. So it's very odd to hear that there's voice acting in Arabic for a game as big as the Tomb Raider, and there isn't for Japan, because usually there is. Japan is a bigger market, and it's much more sustainable because in most of Arabic countries there's a lot of piracy going on, and I myself haven't lived there for like 15 years. I can say that like there's a very small amount of gamers who actually buy games there, because it's unheard of, unless of course you're playing consoles like PS3 or Xbox 360, and when it comes to Xbox 360, if you're
Can I ask a
actually going
question?
to play online. Sure.
Is it even legal to play on the Xbox 360 there? I'm
That-
sorry,
What?
bad joke.
What a
I'm
question.
sorry.
What a question is that?
Sorry, bad joke.
I don't get the joke.
I don't get the joke either.
US Arabs.
Forget it. Continue. I was just trying to be an ass.
Is
Huh?
this supposed to be like some kind of Arab sensitivity thing? Because I seriously don't get it.
It was just Leon's attempt at playing joke.
Yeah, I know.
And
That's so
racism.
sad. Yeah, and racism. I make a very bad racist, as you can tell. So yeah, I'm hard.
Yeah.
Yep, that was terrible.
I still
Well, we
like
all
my number
laughed
one
at it,
racist
so-
joke. 'Cause-
Which
Yeah.
And I live in the Netherlands, so yeah.
yeah.
If I had lived in the Netherlands and you came up with a joke that is so lame that I was confused, yeah, you probably need to
Yeah. I'm pretty low,
level up
huh?
on that.
Yeah,
that skill.
pretty low. All right.
But the idea is, it's such a rare effort, and like, why would you do that, but not do the Japanese voice acting?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Uh,
Turkey.
And better yet, why are we discussing a piece of news that sounds so utterly out of this world? Is this like some kind of slow news day?
I don't know why we're still discussing it. Shall we stop
No
discussing
news
it?
day.
Yeah, let's pick up something else.
Okay, I'm gonna pick up something else. NeoGaf in the forums. You guys know about it, right? So it says that Dark Souls has sold 2,367,000 copies, and Namco Bandai are ecstatic.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, Dark Souls.
Yeah.
I'm
They
sorry,
like
what?
it. They like it so.
That just
They like-
passed right over my
Yeah,
head.
they just yeah. Can you repeat that again?
Dark Souls has sold
Uh-huh.
across the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and the PC
Uh-huh.
2,367,000 copies.
You mean as of recent? Hard copy?
As of recent, yeah, because recently they had.
Is
they
it
had
just hard
announced-
copy or with Steam alone?
I'm not sure, but I'm thinking hard copies alone.
Okay.
That's quite
Mm.
low, but
Yeah, I was expecting like
3.
way
you know?
higher.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, I
or
was
4.
expecting way higher too, but they
That's
seem
a
to
bit
be pretty
odd.
happy with the sales figures. They seem to be pretty happy with the sales figures, so much so that Dark Souls 2 will have an Xbox 360 release in Japan.
Whoa, Japan. For
Yes.
360. That's impressive.
Yes,
That's risky.
360 version of the. Yes, 360 version.
Why are
of
you
Dark
surprised?
Souls.
It's a Japanese game.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm surprised about
No.
I'm surprised that they want to come out in Xbox 360 in the first place, since
Yeah.
there's not much
Yes,
market.
that is the surprising bit.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, that
surprising
is
part.
the surprising bit.
In Japan, because Japan they don't have that much high
Yeah,
sales for Xbox 360. Most of them are just
Very
ardent
low, actually.
PS3 fans, let alone PC.
Hmm.
So that's what surprised
Okay.
me.
It's pretty
I don't-
surprising.
I myself do not know about the sales figures on the consoles in Japan, but all
Mm.
I know is that for a game like Dark Souls, it's actually kind
Yeah.
of a blessing that it sold that much, given the audience that people like video game developers have to cater for nowadays. It's quite a win.
And yet Square Enix is crying that
The-
Tomb Raider only sold what 3 million, 4 million,
3.5 million.
3.5
I
million units.
It's
Let's-
kind of it's kind of obvious why that is the case, because you take a game like Dark Souls and it's really hard. It's, as a matter of fact, that is its selling point, right?
Mhm.
And like that kind of game, you would expect it not to sell that much because only a few people would like that kind of challenge, and only like a certain bunch of core gamers, if that is the word, are going to pick it up. While you take a game like, for example, Tomb Raider, and there is no barrier to cross in order to start playing that game. There is nothing new that you have to learn. All you have to do is have a few fingers that are still functional, and then just put them on a controller and play the game.
It's
Right.
it's even just like giving you all the hints and telling you this is exactly what you do. It's
So I
there's
think
a
it all of us
challenge
have
to
played.
it.
I think all of us have played Tomb Raider.
Yes.
I played it too. I haven't finished it yet, but I am.
Oh,
I played it,
Yeah.
finished it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
played it.
What difficulty did you guys play it on?
I
Normal.
played normal right now, but I'm planning to do a hard probably like after I finish XCOM
Okay,
ag- again.
Normal.
because hard is really nice.
That's what I've
Oh,
been hearing.
Yeah, hard is like the Tomb Raider of old. You know, you die so fast.
okay.
You die pretty damn fast. Yeah, so you gotta be real careful with who you shoot and how you shoot, and yeah, just something.
Okay. All right.
If I were to make a small note on this subject about the difficulty on Tomb Raider, it's it's pretty much non-proportional because the only thing that differs is the shooting. And you would expect a game like Tomb Raider to be not about the shooting. Well, not as much about the shooting as it is now. You would
Mhm.
expect it to be a balance between shooting and puzzles because
Puzzles, yeah.
Tomb Raider,
Yeah.
right?
True.
And platforming puzzles, kind of.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
But I know that that is not the case because the idea of difficulty levels nowadays in video games is just basically how many bullets do your enemies take and how good are they with their aiming. So you
They're-
take that and you apply it to a game like Tomb Raider and suddenly it loses some of its glamour.
Mm.
But the
But-
idea is
Yeah.
like on the normal difficulty it is so easy that you do not need
Anything.
anything to access the game.
Mm.
So you don't even need a functional brain. All you need is if you can eat, if you can move your hand and shove things into your mouth, you can finish Tomb Raider on moderate difficulty.
Sure.
You take that and you
Yeah,
compare it to a game. You
hell?
take that and you compare it to a game like Dark Souls,
Mhm.
and you can suddenly see the difference there. So you would expect a game like Tomb Raider to sell like, well, I don't know, like hot donuts. Do
Probably.
people eat hot donuts? And
I do.
on the other hand,
What are you asking about?
on the other hand, Dark Souls, you would expect this game to sell moderately. You'd expect it to sell well because it's a well-made game and it received a lot of praise. But
Yes.
you wouldn't expect it to sell a lot. So there you go. And I think it's kind of a win, well, to me at least, that a game like Dark Souls ended up selling just about as much as Tomb Raider. But I think we're only talking about hard copies, and you know,
Yeah,
this is a
yeah.
debate as well.
Yeah, most of
That,
the time
you
they
know,
don't even
hard
do soft
copies are getting out of fashion right now. You know,
I still love my
you
hard
know.
copies. I don't know about you, but hard copies just are nice. You know, it's nice to have a hard
Yeah.
copy, and not, especially if the
like
game
the
is
folders,
humongous. The download time will take forever.
True.
Yeah.
Ni no Kuni.
Oh,
Gosh, I wanna play
yeah.
it.
Me too.
Now I said Ni no Kuni because Ni no Kuni is about what 25 gigabytes,
29.
29
So,
gigabytes.
yeah,
So
yes,
Cool.
that
29.
argument falls through again
Wow.
because of
I'm
But
not gonna
there is a
download that.
rumor going around that Ni no
Yes.
Kuni is coming out for the PlayStation Vita.
Oh,
Oh,
that'd be nice.
oh.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting enough.
And that's what the PlayStation Vita really needs. It needs more good games.
Good RPG games, for example.
I don't care, but just
Yeah, I'm just
Just
saying.
good-
I'm
good
just saying.
games,
You
yeah.
know.
It'd be a
Because
kickstart for
fucking-
Vita.
Probably. No, I was thinking about the talking about RPGs in handheld mobile games. Yeah, I started thinking about the multitude, quite a few number of RPG games that came out on Android, for example. I can't remember the names now, but some of you may. Some of them are pretty good. Actually, most of them are pretty good. And I started thinking, why don't PS Vita have this? I mean, come on, it's freaking Sony. Then you came around with Kuni and it's like, okay, fine.
no the thing is there was some time back then that the PS Vita was supposed to get Android on it because it uses ARM chips similar to what you see in most modern phones. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but you can run Android on a PlayStation Vita. But because the sales just wasn't there yet, so it really didn't go through.
Oh. That explains a lot.
well, you look at the amount of games that are out for the PS Vita, and you realize, yeah, why would I buy that? It's an impressive piece of tech, I suppose,
It's
But-
very good looking.
but like, what would I do with it? There are not many games that I can play on it, and there's not much interesting going on with it aside from the what it is as a hardware piece.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
this is the same thing with the Wii U. The Wii U, well, I wouldn't say it's an impressive piece of hardware, to be fair.
No, it isn't.
It has an
It's not.
impressive
It's not, my
concept.
friend. It's not.
And the problem is that you don't have games for it. There's just nothing, there's not much to go with it. And so you're left with a piece of hardware that you do not want to buy because you do not have anything to do with it after you bought it.
Yeah.
So
Even with the price
there's a
drop,
problem.
I still don't see the. I mean, I want to buy it, but even with the price drop, I don't see the need to buy it.
Mm.
Yeah,
see.
I don't know. I mean, with the PS Vita, this is good news because I think that the PS Vita deserves better.
Mm.
Yeah.
But let's just hope that this will like put
Boost
some.
sales and popularity and such.
I would just say like I hope that game developers will start looking at PS Vita a little bit more and actually start developing games for it because yeah, it's an impressive thing, and if people are going to start picking it up, then I do not see why people would not, why game developers would not take this opportunity.
Alright, so here's a little bit of interesting trivia about the Wii U. We've been talking about it recently and how it's not a very impressive piece of hardware, so let's run through. Batman Arkham City Armored Edition, that runs at 720p. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 runs at 880 by 720. Darksiders runs at 1152 by 640. Mass Effect 3 runs at 720p. Even the new Super Mario Bros. U runs on 720p and Zombie U at 720p. I mean, for a new generation, isn't that a bit disappointing?
That's
So disappointing.
sad.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, it does not run 1080p even though it can. The machine is said to be capable of rendering in 1080p, but so far I don't think there are many really good games which are out on 1080p. Even the Zombie U, which was supposed to be the Wii U's launch title, if I'm not mistaken, it only runs at 720p. And the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 have been doing that for the past 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just something to point out. Just nothing much, just something to point out.
This is interesting for one reason, and that is, I've heard this comment before, and I do not exactly remember where I got it from. And the idea is Nintendo knows how to make good games, fun games, but it does not know how to make hardware.
Wow.
And I would
Wow.
I would agree with that because, well, when it comes to their lineup of games, they are terribly repetitive with their sequels, and
Mario.
it's basically Nintendo lives on nostalgia and
Nostalgia.
names that we know,
Yes.
but their hardware is kind of silly. Like the Wii was silly, the Wii U is silly,
3DS.
the 3DS was also silly. I don't know. Is Nintendo thinking that because the game sequels sell well, they can just release console sequels and that will sell well as well? What does that? Why?
But Nintendo does have a valid argument when they say that the Wii was previous generation and that rendered in less than HD, and the Wii U renders in HD, sort of 720p.
That is a silly
That
argument.
is a
to
weak
make.
argument, okay? That's a weak argument.
Don't blame me, that's not my argument.
Come on.
Alright, so should we
I
put
mean-
that topic to rest?
Please, let's just put
Alright.
the whole company to rest.
Oh.
Lay it out of the misery.
Yeah, true. Put it out of
We'll have
misery,
one
yeah.
week. We'll have 1 week talking about Nintendo. But for now, here's something else in the news. Crytek CEO Servet Yuli mentions that graphics are 60% of the game. So, yeah, he was mentioning how important graphics is and that people say graphics don't matter, but play Crysis and tell me that they don't matter. It's always been about graphics driving gameplay. In Crysis 3, it's the grass and the vegetation, the way the physics runs the grass interacts and sways them in the wind. The better the graphics, the better the physics, the better the sound design, the better the technical assets and production values are, paired with an art direction making things look spectacular and stylistic, is 60% of the game. That's a direct quote from CEO of Crytek, Servet Yearly, for those of you who don't know him. I'm a big fan of that guy, but when it comes to this line, I'm a bit skeptical that 60% is a big number. What do you guys think?
Okay. Don't,
I'd
no
put it to
offense,
50
but
actually.
60. Here's the thing. I played Crisis 3. I love the graphics. Hated the game because it's too repetitive. I stopped playing. I don't even feel like playing anymore. So yeah, there goes graphics. So I'm saying that what's the point of being pretty if there's no depth in it? You get what I mean?
No depth,
Are
yeah.
we still talking about video games?
Yes, we're
Yes,
talking
we
about
are.
video games. Yes, we're talking about
Okay.
video games.
I thought that was just a general comment about humans. At any rate,
No. Well, okay, you can do that too, but I'm talking about video games here.
right. And the idea is, it appears to be, to me at least, that game developers have this, how to say, tunnel-visioned opinions, because
Narrow
like
visions.
yeah, because like it appears like when it comes to the CEO of Crytek, he's going to talk about how video games are the best thing ever, and then you look at someone like, what was his name, the man behind Jonathan Blow, the man behind Braid. You take Jonathan Blow, and the only thing he's going to talk about is systems and simplified game design and small, how to say, simple but really smart puzzles. And you take up any other game designer, and whatever they worked on is going to be their favorite thing ever. And it's just like, but that's not the way things work. You take a game like Thomas Was Alone, which is about squares, and I haven't played. I played Crisis 1, but I actually stopped playing like what, 2 missions in because it was so just I was not connected to the world. And then you take a game like Thomas Was Alone, and it seems to me that Thomas Was Alone can deliver a better
Experience.
not a better game experience, because that would be quite an engrossing statement, but at least a better atmosphere and a better storytelling than a Crisis game could. So where are your graphics now? Such sweeping generalizations always tend up to be wrong, and I do not see why this generalization could not be fallen into that same trap.
Sean, anything to say?
No. I disagree with the CEO's statement.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Pretty much the
Well,
same. Okay, go on.
what I'm gonna say is, I'm quite a visual player. Like, I do sometimes base the games on how they look, because when the game looks good, you feel like you can connect better to the world and the people. Sometimes you care for them a little more because they look good, and it looks good. It appeals to you. But
talking about the
certainly,
details, right?
yeah, details and the general art style of the whole game. But then if you have a game that does not deliver the atmosphere to you, then you're just gonna think it's a pretty game, but you're not gonna you're not gonna feel immersed in it. You're just gonna think, oh, it's pretty, but you don't feel it. So at the end of the game, you just think, oh, that was nice, and you remember the game for its graphics and not for the experience. So
Like Sniper Ghost Warrior 2? Have any of you played that?
I've seen
I haven't played it yet. I haven't played it yet.
I played 30 minutes of Sniper Ghost Warrior, the first one, and I mean, yeah, like what Sam
Rage
said,
quit.
it was a pretty game, but whew, wasn't a pretty game to play. I mean, it was quite silly. Like, shoot this guy here, shoot this guy there, walk in this narrow corridor, take this zip line. If you don't take the zip line, you're gonna get murdered. If you don't shoot, you're gonna get discovered. Even though you shoot, you get discovered. You don't shoot, you get discovered. So what's the point?
It's like,
and
sorry, go on.
yeah, and there's this point where he asks you to run with him, and I ran with him, and I still got shot to death, and I'm like, what? Am I not wearing a ghillie suit for a reason? But yeah, so I don't know. I was looking
It's
forward for Sniper Ghost Warrior 2, and after reading the reviews, gosh, I can't see why they had to make that mistake of going for visuals all over again. So yeah, I won't 100% agree with what Servet Yearly said about gaming being graphics being 60% of the game, but I will agree with what Sam said that a good graphics is, or a good art for the matter is definitely a plus.
Mm, true,
Oh
true.
goodness.
it really
This
depends on how you. Sorry, go on.
sorry. Just this reminds me of Alice Madness Returns. I liked the graphics a lot, but I just labored through the whole game. When I finished it, I was glad I finished it. It was it was really
Oh,
repetitive.
okay.
It depends on how you implement the art style. You take a game like, for example, and this is going to be so this is I'm going to be called out for this and about this being a bad comparison, but take a game like Battlefield 3 and you take the single player component, and I know it's not a single player game, but bear with me. It's really beautiful and everything and graphics and
Yeah.
but you look at the single player and it is just so depressing to play through that. I played through the single player campaign of Battlefield 3 and I'm just like, I do not like any of this and I do not want to play this anymore. And when you jump into the multiplayer, it I don't know, but for me this sour taste followed through because I can see all the prettiness of it and I can see all of the mechanics that could have been used in a single player that if it had the most sensible of stories it would have worked out. But no, they had to focus on the graphics and then the story just throw it right outside the window. You could not care about a single character in that game. A single
So
one.
did you hear what about the DICE exec said recently about Battlefield 4?
What did they say? I'm sure it will be
So
enlightening.
yeah, so he said that for Battlefield 4, graphics is taking a backseat apparently, and Battlefield 4 is aiming to be a single player oriented. I mean, it's not single player oriented. There'll still be multiplayer, but it's gonna focus greatly on the narrative of the story. Yeah, something similar to what we see in the Bad Company 1 and 2. Those had pretty good campaigns, right?
Well, Bad
I have,
Company 1 really. Bad
yeah,
Company 2 was kind of silly.
I played Bad Company 1 for a short while, and I enjoyed that campaign. Yeah, I played it on the 360, and I was quite impressed back then by the graphics. But then again, which Battlefield doesn't impress you with its graphics?
Well, we've seen the demo, the 17-minute long demo of Battlefield 4, and it looks actually kind of better because they realized that blinding you with light with every five
Yeah,
frames in the
yeah,
game is not a good strategy.
yeah.
So they turned that a little bit down, but it's still kind of silly. And well, from what I've seen from it, I mean, I've seen the 17 minutes demo thing, and I could not help but laugh every 3 minutes about how silly everything that was happening on the screen was. You have this person who have like I don't know, was there a helicopter crash, and then
I haven't
they're
watched
still
it actually,
alive, and then
unfortunately.
there's a car that I think goes into water. I remember there's a like underwater scene, and they're still alive. And I mean, I was expecting a dragon to land, eat them, and then they would be still alive inside the stomach, talking about nationalism and how America's amazing. And then that will be followed by "Stay frosty, let's blow up." And then they will emerge from the beast and be
Stay
like,
frosty. Always stay
actually, no,
frosty.
never mind. I'm not going to run with that joke anymore. I think I've got my point across.
Alright. Okay, so we move on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I think we should wrap it
Alright.
up soon. It's been 35 minutes.
Really? It
Okay,
is?
so
Yeah.
I'm gonna wrap it up with one last topic. So Dark Souls 2 director admits that the PC port was half-assed and that the upcoming Dark Souls 2 will work on a better port. But Dark
Right.
Souls in an interview with the I think one of the execs from Namco Bandai, they said that with Dark Souls 2, the thing that they're going to engage in is with improved graphics fidelity to improve immersion, and that's more or less what they said. And they're also going to increase accessibility. So as you guys, if you've already seen it, Dark Souls 2 screenshots look fantastic. They even look better than the original game, and I'm really not sure how they're going to pull it off with current generation consoles. But if what we're seeing is true, then I can hardly wait. But the second part of the line really kind of makes me think. They're going to make Dark Souls 2 more accessible. When you interpret that word accessible, does that mean they're going to make it have a difficulty setting, or are they just going to make it a bit easier? So, yeah, what do you guys think?
I don't know why, but that sounds so bad.
La, 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 la.
Sounds really bad. Well, because like it kind of takes away the charm of Dark Souls in the first place. For me to choose the lesser from two evils, I prefer the difficulty settings
Difficulty?
rather than making it easier. Yeah, the difficulty settings rather than making it easier. I'm not so sure if making it accessible is really the way to go. I mean, sure, it's gonna up the sales, but they're just gonna lose the core fans. Two, like I said, it's gonna lose the charm. And three, then it's once it loses its charm, then what's the point of selling it in the first place? Because you lost your selling points,
True.
right?
But
Right.
I don't exactly agree with the difficulty setting for Dark Souls, because finishing Dark Souls, I don't see it being enjoyable on any other difficulty. I think From
Yeah,
Software nailed it. They just nailed it with the difficulty. It isn't too hard. Okay, what am I talking about? It's hard,
it's
but
hard.
it's
It's
not.
hard.
It's punishingly difficult, but it's not unfair.
Funny.
They got the difficulty just right, and because of the difficulty, that's the part of the experience. So if you have
That's the
an
thing.
easy version of Dark Souls 2, I don't see the point in it.
But if
Well,
we're
I'm just
talking
saying,
Like,
about we're talking
like
about uh,
if you had
go
to choose
ahead,
between the
Andy.
two, you know,
yeah, okay. All right, Sam, what were
yeah.
you gonna say?
No, like Andy says, right? If you had to choose between a game that decides for you that it's gonna be easy and a game that lets you choose if you want it to be difficult and hard. If you want it
Hmm.
on hard, then you definitely would choose the difficulty settings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's a problem with difficulty settings that I myself, at least it's a problem that I have with it.
Okay, okay.
Normal difficulty always seems to me like this
Too
is how the
easy,
game should be played.
but it's too easy
If it's
nowadays.
yeah, it is too easy, and that's the thing. It's like when I'm playing a game like, let's get back to it. If it's okay, maybe it's Tomb Raider or maybe it's Call of Duty. Pick up any game,
Hmm.
right? And then you go like, well, this is too easy. The first thing that the fans are going to tell you is up the difficulty level. Was there's no problem there, and I've myself found a problem with it because normal or regular is supposedly the intended way to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Supposedly.
play it there and it's not hard enough, then that's your problem right there. A
Hmm.
game that does not have a difficulty choice means that the game was designed around that difficulty, means that it was intended to be played that way. So when you're playing it, you're getting the actual experience that the game developers wanted to convey, right?
Hmm.
And it feels genuine and it feels real. And even if it's a little bit too hard when you start with it, you are still experiencing it, and you still feel like it feels like this is how it should be. It doesn't feel like, you know what, maybe I should just bump down the difficulty level one notch and then play it,
Hmm.
and have fun with it. And there isn't really much of a difference there.
Okay.
That's
Hmm.
on one thing. On the
Hmm.
other thing, on the other hand,
Yeah.
a game like Dark Souls, as Andy has put out,
Hmm.
it's a game about difficulty.
Yeah.
It's a game about the challenge.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure what they mean by accessibility. Maybe they mean that the controls are going to be better. Maybe they mean that there will be some kind of a tutorial, and then after the tutorial, the game continues like a normal Dark Souls game.
Probably.
Maybe they mean that they're just going to make it easier, but if they do mean that, then they are making a bad decision.
Hmm.
When it comes to the PC port, I'm still not 100% sure because they've made mistakes in the past, and you should never outright trust a game developer when they say that they're going to be better. But I do have a lot of enthusiasm about this game because if this game is going to get the press that I want it to get, then we might just see a little bit of change when it comes to video games, because we already can see that being an easy video game is bad press, and a lot of games have been getting that over the past few years.
Mm.
So if this pulls off right, then maybe, just maybe, we'll have hard games again. Because if you load up games from the NES, you will realize just how hard those games were.
Mhm.
And you can take popular titles and just see how it works. You can take Super Mario Brothers, you can take Castlevania, you can take Mega Man. And if you can pass any of those games 2 levels in without having to die and start over, then you, sir, deserve a medal. I myself could not pull it off.
Alright, before we wrap it up, Sean, do you have anything to say?
No.
You've been awfully quiet today.
Yeah, quiet.
Alright, so let's not make it any longer. So that's a wrap for the second trial run of GDP. If you like what we're doing,
Yeah.
hit up subscribe and like our videos, and we'll have more GDP coming up next. So stay tuned. Alright.
Yeah.
Don't be too enthusiastic about it. This is about the level that you're gonna get.